Hey there, it's John from Heroes and Legends, and I'm back with another comic book haul. So if you watched last week's haul, it was only a couple books. It was a really small week, but I was able to talk about some of my other favorite books from my collection, so that was kind of fun. I definitely want to do that again in the future. But this week I have a huge haul. This feels like 2 weeks worth. A lot of books came out. Definitely makes up for last week, so I'm just going to jump in since there's a lot to go over. Try to keep this video short. First is Avengers number 0, and I actually didn't order this. They kind of threw this one in, which was nice, so thank you. This book, it's a lot of short stories. Basically, get you excited about all the new Avengers books that are starting up now that Secret Wars is over. There is a Mark Waid story about Vision and Scarlet Witch in here that I'm going to read. Honestly, it's probably the only one I'm going to read out of the 6 stories or however many are in here. But yeah, definitely want to check that out. So it's cool they threw that in. Next is Imperium number 9, and this is Harbinger, basically, or from the creative team of Harbinger at Valiant, and this is part 1 of a new story arc. So if you haven't been reading this book, good jumping out point. It's been spectacular. Definitely would recommend it highly. Next we got Bloodshot Reborn. This is number 7. Lined up there, and Jeff Lemire is writing this, and great story. This has been a great book all along, and can't say enough good things about Jeff Lemire. I was also able to pick up one of his independent comics as well this week, which you'll see in just a few moments. We got the new Liberty Annual in this week, and I want to say these are coming out twice a year now. I think maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like it's twice a year. If you've never read any of the Liberty Annuals, basically it's a book they put out by Image. The funds go to the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, which is a pretty cool cause. So usually there's a lot of short stories and little even like cartoon strips and stuff like that by some pretty famous creators. This particular issue, the creators aren't maybe quite as well known as they've been in the past. I mean, in the past we've seen stories like people like Jeff Johns and stuff, which is cool because Jeff Johns never really writes independent stuff. But this year the names are quite as recognizable, but it's still pretty cool and exciting. I really like this when it comes out yearly or maybe twice a year now. But if you haven't read one of these, definitely pick one up. We got Batman Eternal back. It's Batman and Robin Eternal. So I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the weekly serials. They're just very hard to keep up with, quite honestly. This one, I mean, I'm going to try it out. It's co-written by Snyder and Tynion, and I don't know, I've said before in videos, I'm not a huge fan of Tynion's writing. It just depends on how much Snyder's influence is going to be in here, whether it's probably going to be good or not. So I'll check it out and see. I don't know if I'll keep with this one. Next we got Grant Morrison, 18 Days, and I've enjoyed this. This is number 4, and yeah, so far it's interesting. It's kind of almost like it has this Conan the Barbarian kind of vibe to it, but with this, you know, very like, you know, interesting mythology. I've really liked it, so check it out. I mean, it's not the crazy, weird Grant Morrison stuff that you see in some of his other books, but, you know, he hasn't taken the train to Crazy Town. This is a little more straightforward stuff, but I've really liked it, so I would recommend this for sure. Batman Detective Comics number 45. So I've been saying last couple months, you've been watching the hauls, Detective I haven't been super excited about. Haven't been super excited about the direction they've gone with Batman recently anyway. But this issue is written by Peter Tomasi. I'm kind of hoping that he's going to stay on the book now. I don't know if this is a one-shot or if he's going to stick around. I hope he sticks around because I do like Tomasi. He writes very interesting stuff. It's not just, I don't know, run-of-the-mill, what you'd expect, but he does it well. Like, he can get a little bit out there without taking it too far, and he's the writer that did a lot of the Damian Wayne story development stuff. After Grant Morrison kind of created that character and launched it, he's the one that kind of took over and worked more on the relationship between Damian and Bruce Wayne when Bruce came back. You know, so he's done a lot of awesome stuff. I'm excited to see him on the book. I think this could be a good turning point for this book. All right, so next one, this is a little weird. This is Aliens and Vampirella, number 1. Now, I've never read a Vampirella book. I never got into it. Here's my side tangent, I guess. I always thought it was just a little too cheesecakey. I was just never into that type of thing. And I remember in the 90s, I guess once it started getting towards the mid 90s, like 94, 95, when the industry really took a turn into a lot of the more popular books were a little more kind of cheesecake books. And I kind of got out of comics at that time for a while, really probably for like 6-7 years before I really kind of got back into them. So yeah, never a huge fan, but I do like Aliens, and I do like the Dark Horse Aliens books. So I was kind of like, I'll check this out. So I picked up the first issue. This actually came out last month, and then this was the issue that came out this week. This is issue number 2. So I think it's probably 4 parts. Typically these are 4-part miniseries with Aliens. So we'll see, and I'm sure I'll read it by our next haul. So I'll let you know when number 3 comes out. All right. So this next one is by SGP. It's mixtape number 1. I don't know the full story behind this book. If someone does, definitely put in the comments below. I have an older version of this from probably about, 7-8 years ago. It was a number 1 issue, and it was an independent book. It's a black and white book. It looks very indie. And I was really attracted to it 7-8 years ago because of the tagline that was about 90s alternative music and stuff. So honestly, at this point, I don't remember. I read it so long ago. So now this, I don't know if this is just a reprint or if this is a new story that's a relaunch, if you will. So I don't know. But I picked it up. It's interesting to me, and I'll check it out and see what it's like. But kind of cool that it came back. And it's been a very indie title in the past, so we'll see where that goes. All right, back to Marvel, and we have Amazing Spider-Man number 1, and this is an oversized issue, a really thick issue actually, and it's also a $6 issue, but this is the relaunch post Secret Wars. Dan Slott's still the writer, so I don't expect too much to change here. I mean, I realize the status quo of Spider-Man has probably changed a little bit after Secret Wars, but I'm not expecting earth-shaking changes since it's the same writer, and he's a little kind of off kilter anyway. If you read his stories, it's not just kind of the normal run-of-the-mill stuff. So, I think from what I understand now, I guess Peter Parker's, rich or something, owns a company. I don't know what's happening there. So, but I do like Dan Slott, so I will go along with it. All right, here's another book that actually came out last month, but I picked up the first issue this week, and this is Captain America White by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. They've done a number of these miniseries together over the years with other Marvel characters. They've all been very good, so I'm looking forward to reading this one with Captain America. Now it's escaping me. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe they did a Daredevil story, a Spider-Man story, maybe a Hulk story like this. So yeah, that's the first issue, and then this week the second issue came out. And this, these tales are usually, kind of almost like origin type stories and stuff like that, but just retold, a few more details thrown in, that type of thing. All right. Next we have Powers number 5, and this is Brian Michael Bendis, who is one of my favorite writers, maybe my second favorite writer in the industry, I think I could probably say. After Jeff Johns, I really like Bendis, but both phenomenal. And this is one of his own independent books. It's published through Marvel on the Icon imprint, but kind of like Kick-Ass was, if you remember that. But yeah, this is really cool stuff. I haven't watched the TV show yet. I have the PlayStation Network, so I could watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I kind of want to check it out. So there's Powers. Next is a Jeff Lemire indie book from Image. This is Plutona number 2. And yeah, anything Jeff Lemire writes, especially his indie stuff, I really want to pick up and read. So this is number 2. Number 1 came out last month. I don't think I showed it in the haul. I picked it up just on its own at one point at a local comic book store. So now I got it on my subscription. All right, let's do a little Star Wars. So those of you who watch some of my other hauls, I like Star Wars. I wouldn't say I'm a huge Star Wars fan when it comes to the comic books. But these have been very, very well done with strong creative teams. And this is the last part, I believe, to the Lando miniseries, which has been amazing. Charles Soule, who is a really great writer, and I really like a lot of his indie stuff, is writing this, and great storyline. So pick up the trade when that comes out, or a lot of places you can still pick up all 5 of the issues. I actually picked up issue 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time when issue 3 came out and just started reading this. It's been phenomenal. One of the best Star Wars books out there. Another real good Star Wars book, definitely competing with Lando for the best, is Darth Vader, and this is Darth Vader number 10. This book has also been great. It's kind of fun, kind of wacky, offbeat stuff, because it's almost like Darth Vader's the straight man. He's surrounded by this group of people that he kind of needs to circumvent the Emperor, but they're kind of quirky, and there's this weird sort of like comedy to it in a way. So I really like it. It's a great book, one of my favorites right now. Then here's the regular Star Wars title, number 10. Again, this has been great. Jason Aaron, he actually has the pick of the week this week as well, which we'll get to in a few moments. But Jason Aaron, just awesome, has done a great job with this. I'm just really shocked that I'm enjoying this as much as I am. Like I said, I've enjoyed the Star Wars movies in the past. It's a franchise that I like, but I never really saw myself sitting down and reading Star Wars comic books, but these have been really good. So there's another one that actually came out last month, but I missed it, so I picked it up now. This is Star Wars Shattered Empire, number 1. This is by Greg Ruckus, another amazing writer, so that's why I picked this up. I read everything Rucka puts out anyway, so I would have read this regardless, but just the fact that they've been so impressive with the Star Wars stuff, I added this to the pull list. So this actually takes place after Jedi, so I think that's going to be interesting to explore some of that space, because that really hasn't been explored yet in the new comic series. So we're going to see what happens after Return of the Jedi, and eventually, I guess, leading up to probably the new movies that come out this winter. And having said that, number 2 also, it was actually out this week, and here's the second issue. All right, so another Brian Michael Bendis book, and this is Old Man Logan, number 5. I think this is the last one of this series. Again, this was kind of a Secret Wars tie-in, but Old Man Logan was a really cool character that Mark Millar first explored in Wolverine a number of years ago. And Bendis has done a really good job kind of showing this character now kind of out of his environment. He's in the Secret Wars world, so he's kind of hopping between different worlds, and he knows a lot of the characters, obviously, from his past, even if they're different alternate versions of themselves. But Bendis can make anything good. So this has been a fantastic story. All right, so next we have a Brian K. Vaughan book. It's actually the first of a couple this week. And Brian K. Vaughan's been doing a lot more work lately. He kind of disappeared from the comic book scene for a while, then came back a couple of years ago with a bang with Saga. Saga's been phenomenal. Of course, in the past, he's written Y the Last Man. He's done some great work on Ultimate X-Men and Wolverine. If you haven't read those, check those out. But We Stand on Guard is awesome. This is issue 4. If you haven't picked up issue 1 through 3, either try to grab those or grab the trade once they wrap up the first storyline. This is a great book. So I don't know if it's limited or if he's going to keep going. I hope he keeps going with this, and it's not just a limited series, but it's been phenomenal. And I'll tell you, just missed our top 3 picks of the week. It actually would have been our number 4. All right, so let's move on to our top 3 of the week. The first one I put on there is actually a Marvel book. I don't know if I put a Marvel book on the top 3 picks yet so far, but Invincible Iron Man number 1 by Brian Michael Bendis. And I'm just excited to see Bendis' take on Iron Man, because I just haven't seen that yet. So, I mean, granted, he wrote Iron Man in Avengers, but I haven't really seen him do a solo Iron Man, so I want to see that, I guess, and here it is. So this is why it's my number 3 pick of the week. I'm looking forward to see where he goes with the character. He's just such a great writer, and he just develops characters so well that I'm very excited to see what he's going to do with Tony Stark. All right, number 2 book pick of the week is Papergirls, number 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. And And again, well, I guess it's good that I don't have 2 Brian K. Vaughan books in the top 3. So this is the first issue. It's also a very thick issue. I don't know how many pages it is. But yeah, I'm very excited. This is now his 3rd book that he's putting out. Saga is still going strong. Of course, that hasn't come out in a few months because it's kind of their break period in between story arcs to kind of keep ahead. So the issues come out on time, which is awesome. But yeah, here's another Brian K. Vaughan book. So I'm really looking forward to reading this. I read a preview of it in We Stand on Guard. I think it was We Stand on Guard number 1 or number 2 had a preview of this. So I'm very interested to read the full story. All right. Number 1 pick of the week, or pick of the haul, is Southern Bastards number 11. Jason Aaron, Jason Latour on the art, knocking it out of the park. I can't say enough good stuff about this series. If you're not reading this, you need to get out there and pick these up, or trades or what have you, and give these comics. These are awesome. This needs to be a television show. So anyone from AMC or what have you watching this, pick this up. This needs to be a TV show. A quick synopsis for those of you who haven't read it. Basically, it's a small town in the South, and it's run by it almost feels like a Southern Sopranos, but the person in charge is the high school football coach, and he kind of runs the whole town, and and does basically whatever he wants to do. And there's been moments where people have kind of stepped up and challenged him, but I mean, he always kind of comes off on top. What's kind of funny is when you first read the first story arc, it's really told from the point of view of a hero, and you kind of expect it to be a story about him, but it really kind of shifts and turns into a story about the coach, and that's kind of where it goes from there. So it's really well done. I can't say enough about it. Just pick this up, pick it up, read it. It's phenomenal stuff by Jason Aaron. So hey, that's the haul for the week. Thanks for watching. I don't want this video to go too long. It probably already has, but I'll be back next week with the books, and until then, hey, thanks and have a great day.